Hi everyone, my name is Emma and welcome to Get Your Play Online. My name is Emma, as I mentioned, and I am here to make a fun activity with arts and crafts today called leaf animals. So it could look like this, and this is using some leaves that I've just found on the ground outside during this time of year. So right now, I've just used a variety of colors and shapes, and so this is what I found in my neighborhood, but you can definitely use whatever you can find in your neighborhood to make this activity. And so you'll definitely need this to follow along with me today, but I just want you to think as you're walking around outside today or tomorrow, whenever you're making this activity, what kind of fun leaf animals you could come up with on your own, because these are just some of my examples. So, you get to really express yourself and have a lot of fun. I had so much fun making this myself a few days ago, so I did it with some friends of mine, and you may want to do it with some family members or some friends of your own, and I found it was a really fun leaf party that we had. So you can definitely use them as decorations around your house at this time of year, just putting them up on the walls, or you can give them to gifts and to your friends. So there's many things you could do with this, so I hope you enjoy this activity today. All right, and since we're making this together, we're going to need some supplies first, so I'll let you know what you need to follow along with me today. So as I mentioned, we'll need a variety of leaves, different shapes, sizes, colors, whatever you can find. These are just ones I found around my neighborhood, and a lot of them were oval shaped. And I also find these oval shaped ones a little bit easier to actually work with and make some animals with. There's just so many options for the oval shaped ones, so I'll be using a lot of those today. And I have flattened them as well. About a day I let them sit under a thick textbook, so you'll need some heavy books, something like this that feels really heavy, so it'll really flatten it, because it's really easy to work with the flatter leaves compared to the ones that are really curly and really bend very easily. So that's a really good idea to do ahead of time. And another piece of equipment we will need are some scrap papers. I just have some construction papers and blank papers here, but you can use newspapers as well, just something to protect your countertop or table wherever you're going to be doing this activity, just to keep it free from all the dirt and stuff that might come off of the leaves, and also to prevent any glue from getting on the table, because we'll also be using some liquid glue. For sure. It can be clear, sparkly, glittery, or just plain white like I have. And we'll also need some markers of whatever colors you have, as always, just whatever you feel like using. And for actually drawing on top of the leaves, I find the Sharpies really, really effective for that. They're really good at that. Okay, so what we'll need after that is some blank papers. So just anything, blank white, it can be any color you feel like. I have some fall colors, or some browns, some oranges, some white, whatever you feel like using today. Okay, so after that, I believe we are ready to get started with our activity. Okay, so first, as I mentioned, we'll need to kind of walk around your neighborhood, find those leaves, and hopefully have fun doing that. I found it quite enjoyable to go outside if you have a sunny day. That's the best day to do that, I find. And if you find more shapes and sizes and colors, you can get even more creative and think of more and more animals, more than I've come up with myself. So I'm going to be going through a few examples of some animals that I came up with. And as I mentioned, I've placed it under a heavy textbook. That's kind of step 2. We need to flatten them for at least one day, I find. Very, very helpful. So if it wasn't quite flat enough after a day, you can check it and then just put the textbook back on it and check it every few hours, something like that, just until you notice that they're flat enough to be used and easier to be glued together. All right, so I think we are ready to take a look at our tabletop, our countertop I'm going to be using today, and see. I have a big open space here with my papers laid out to make sure there's no glue or dirt from the leaves that will get on my table. Keep it all nice and clean. Okay, and now that they are protected, I'm going to just bring over all of the leaves that I've found. I have a bunch here. And as I mentioned, a lot of them are very oval shaped and they're nice and flat now. So they should be easy to be glued together. So when you're looking at the leaves, I just want you to think about, do you notice any kind of animals that they may look like, or any parts of animals you might notice, like a lion or a bird or a ladyfish or even a mouse? So those are some of the animals I have thought of when I first looked at my leaves. But as I mentioned before, you can definitely use your imagination and see what else you can come up with. All right, so now that you've decided on your animals, I think I know which ones I'm going to be doing. We are going to actually start making them together. So I think I'm going to start with making a lion. So I'm just going to put all of the leaves to the side and take a bigger piece of paper for this one. I'm just going to use white. I think that'll show up the best. So I have a lot of these larger oval shaped, these ones are brown leaves, that I'm going to be using for the mane. So I'm going to use about 10 of these leaves for the mane. All right, let me just place them in a circle. I'm going to try my best to fit them all on the page. And I'm going to put the stem end facing in. And leave a small circle in the middle for the face. That's where we're going to be drawing our face. So I just want to make sure that I have enough leaves to fill it all in. If you need more than 10, of course, you can add as many as you need to make a complete mane. All right, so I think that's looking pretty good, and I'm ready. Now that I like where everything is placed, I'm going to start gluing. I'm going to grab my liquid glue here and just flip over a leaf, and I find it easiest to do a little strip of glue in the middle, just like that, if you squeeze really hard, and then around the edges as well. Just a little bit is needed. A little bit goes a long way with the liquid glue. And then I'm going to flip it back over and just place it down exactly where I had originally put it. And I'm going to push down really firmly, make sure it stays nice and stuck to the page. And then I'm going to keep doing that for all the other 9 leaves that we have left. All right. So as we're doing that, you using a marker and making your own face for the lion. So it could be an angry lion or a happy lion or a silly lion, whatever you're feeling like drawing today. So for me, I don't know, I think just take a little bit of time just to go through each of them. Just want to make sure none of them are going to fall off. So if you put it up around your house for the whole fall season, you want to make sure it's staying there for everyone to see and enjoy. All right. Ooh, and if you want to know any fun facts about lions, there was one I found the other day that I didn't know, but I could really relate to, is that lions sleep up to 20 hours a day. Did you know that? I had no idea. I knew they like to sleep, you know, in the grass. I see them in videos sometimes sleeping in the tall grass, but I didn't know it was for that long. I really like my sleep too, so I would love that kind of life, but I couldn't imagine sleeping 20 hours. 20 hours is a bit long. A bit too long for me. Okay, we are on our last 3 here. Okay. And there might be little bits of dirt like that that come off, but you can just plop it on a little paper towel beside you just to keep it clean. You don't want to be gluing down any dirt on your page. Okay, one more. Here. There we go. Okay, so the lion mane is complete. And as you can see, there's lots of stems in the middle here, so I may want to kind of snap off some of them or just bend them back a little bit, or use your fingertips to kind of pinch it and then break off one of the stem pieces. I think that's the easiest for me to do, is just break off a couple of them. So I have some space to actually draw the lion's face. I'm just going to go through a couple more, get rid of those. And I think that gives me some more space there. Okay, so I'm going to use my Sharpie for this one, just because it's very strong black, and I want the lion's face to really stand out here. So I'm going to start with the top, the ears on top. So I'm going to do 2 small round circles on the top of his face. Here, a smaller circle in the middle. I'll just show you this up close at the end. I think that'll be the easiest. So after we do the 2 ears, then I'm going to do 2 big eyes in the middle. And maybe he'll have like eyebrows sticking up. And then for the nose in the middle, I'm going to do a triangle facing down, pointing down. And then I'm going to do 2 curves, one on the right side and one on the left. Curving up so it's a smile, and then I'm going to do 3 dots on top for where the whiskers would go. So he's a happy lion. Let me show you what this looks like a little bit closer. So he's really happy. And this is still a little bit wet, so I'm just going to set this one to the side so it can dry without the leaves falling. And we are done. Our first animal. Yay! That was really fun. When I was looking at a couple of my leaves. So for this one, I'm going to use 2 leaves here, and I'm just going to glue them directly on this piece of white paper that I have. So for the first part of the bird, we need a larger oval-shaped one. And this one's kind of yellowy, brownish colored. And I found a similar colored, smaller oval. Think about how I want to have everything pointed. So I'm going to have the pointy ends for both the smaller leaf and the bigger leaf pointing down, with the stem ends pointing up. And for the bigger leaf, I'm going to keep the stem on it actually, because we're going to use that part for part of the animal. But for the smaller one, this is going to be the wings, so I'm going to just pinch off the stem, just like I did for the lion. There. Okay. And I'm just going to position the smaller leaf on top of the bigger leaf, about halfway through the bigger leaf's body, because this is the main body of the bird, and then this smaller one is the wing. And I think maybe I'll put it up a little bit higher in our picture. Okay, so I'm happy with all of that. And also, I think for the stem, because this one is a little bit longer than I would like, I'm just going to break off a tiny bit of it, because this is actually going to be our beak for the bird. So I think I'm happy with how that looks right now. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the lion and just flip them over and draw or glue a little line down the middle and around the edges a little bit. And I like to leave a little bit of a gap between the glue and the very edge, because when you squish it down, the glue kind of spreads out. You don't want it to go all over the page. You just want a little bit of the spread so it goes right to the edge. So I'm going to have that one pointing down and push down firmly on it so it sticks. And the same thing with the smaller one. Down the middle, and just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to also have that one pointing down on the body. Okay, that looks good so far. And next, we are going to draw a couple of things on the bird. So I can see the beak, I see the wing, but it's missing some legs. So I'm going to draw again with my Sharpie. I think the black Sharpie stands out really well. So I'm going to do 2 stick legs on the bottom, and then I'm going to have 3 small talons. Those are called on the bottom. Those are the parts that grip the branch when the bird is sitting on it. And on top of the bird, for the face, I'm just going to draw a little eye kind of near the stem part here. So a circle with a little dot in the middle right there. And that is the bird complete. It's done. So if you want to know a fun fact about birds, this was also new to me. I didn't know that there are 10,000 different species of birds worldwide. So I had no idea. I've only seen a few in my neighborhood, but I'm curious, what kind of birds do you see in yours? You're definitely welcome to post in the comments if you have any fun or unique birds that many people may not know of. Or if you have a pet bird. I would love to see pictures of your pet bird too, so feel free to post that in the comments as well. Okay, next up, we are on our third animal. We are going to do this one. I don't know if you call it an animal, maybe an insect more, but this is a ladybug. So this one is just using one single leaf, just one. This one's kind of reddish tinge to it, so it was the closest to red I could find. Some different times of the fall season you can find more red leaves, some turn more brown, but just something kind of reddish would be good for this one. And again, it's oval, and this one's a little bit smaller, but it can be whatever size you want. So for this one, again, I'm just going to kind of flip it over and draw glue my line down the middle and then around the edges, just like that. So it sticks, and I'm going to think about, where should I put this one in my picture? I think I'm going to do in the corner down here. I'm just going to push that down like that. And for this one, I actually don't need the stem on it either. It's not any body part on this insect, so I'm going to pinch it off again really tightly with my fingers. Okay, there we go. So it's nice and stuck. And next, I'm going to grab my Sharpie again. It's very helpful for this activity. And I'm going to be drawing more on the leaf. So here I'm going to start with some dots, because the ladybugs are so known for the red bodies and the black dots that they have on them. So I'm going to draw some small circles, just kind of all over, spreading them out a little bit. Some in the middle, some on the top, some on the bottom. Something like that. Great. So now the body part is done, and we are going to do some antennae. So antennas they need on the top of their head. So this is going to be the top of the ladybug. I'm going to do 2 curved lines, one going up, one going down, and then I'm going to do little circles at the very ends. And then just below where I did the antennae, I'm going to do a little bit of shading in for the heads. So I'm going to do a little curve from one side to the other on top of the leaf. And just shade that in black. And I'm just going to keep going, shading down a little bit, just to make it clear that this is the black head on the ladybug. Okay, great. And they also have some very small legs, so I want to do 3 black legs on each side of the leaf. So on the top part, I'm going to do 3 little curves. And have their little circles for the black feet. And then on the bottom, I do 3 more curves and 3 little circles for the black feet. All right. Looking great. We have one more step to do, and this is just to make it stand out. You don't have to do this. If you just want to leave it here, that's fine, but I like to make it stand out a bit more by kind of outlining it with the black. So on the leaf, I'm just going to do a black line all along the edges here. It'll look very professional, very neat when you're done. So you can definitely do this for any of your animals if you want to make it stand out a bit more. A little bit more on one side. There we go. And we're done. Okay, let me show you up close what this looks like. So here we go, that's our ladybug. She's done. So cute. So a fun fact about ladybugs, this is something I didn't know until good old Google helped me, but the black spots on it, they actually get lighter over time as they age. I had no idea. So if you see a really dark black spots on the ladybug, it's probably younger than if you saw some lighter spots on it. Okay, so next we are going to make a fish. Yes, this was another animal that came to mind. So for this one, we are going to use a few different leaves. We're going to use first a longer, skinnier oval one. So this one, it can be any color you want. And then two smaller oval ones that are going to be the fins. And then we need one smaller leaf, and this is just going to be the tail. It can be kind of heart-shaped or a little bit more wide at one end and then pointy at the other. If you can find one like that, that would be great. So for this one, I'm going to glue it down here on the bottom of my picture. And again, I'm going to start by gluing a strip down the middle, just like that, and a little bit on the outside, top and bottom, there. And just push it down nice and firmly so it's not going anywhere. And again, for this one, we don't need the stem either, so I'm going to pinch it off with my fingers. Ooh, sometimes it takes a little bit. Gotta really pinch it. There we go. Okay, and then we are going to deal with the fins. So we're going to have one on top and one on the bottom. So I'm just going to position it first where I want it to go, just to make sure I have a good idea of it. So maybe something like that around the middle. And I'm going to try and tuck it in underneath the bigger leaf as well. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue on the stem end of this leaf. And then I'm going to lift up the very edge of this bigger one and just kind of slide it under and push it down a little bit so it sticks. So we have that one, and then we need one on the bottom as well. So for this, again, just a little dot on the bottom, and I'm going to stick that underneath one edge here for our bottom fin. Alright, and this one has the fins kind of lifted off the page a little bit. If you like that 3D effect, you can leave that, or you can definitely add another drop of glue underneath just to make it all stick. I think I'm going to leave mine as is. I kind of like that 3D look. And next, we're going to do the tail. So I'm going to use this one, and again, I don't need the stem, so I'm just going to pinch it off there. And then I'm going to use actually the pointy end of this leaf, and I'm going to put a little drop of glue on it and slide that underneath the bottom part, this pointy end of our fish. Right under there. And I'm also going to add just a little drop underneath to make sure this one really sticks. So you don't want the tail going anywhere. Okay. There we go. Just gonna push that down nice and hard. Okay. Nice. So we have all the leaves that we need for our fish placed down. And actually, I'm seeing it's curling up a little bit, so I'm going to add a tiny bit more glue under the fins. I don't want that to fly away anywhere. There we go. Okay, great. So we are done with the leaf part for our fish. We just have one more piece where we need to add the eyeball. So we're gonna add towards the front part where the mouth would be. You can kind of imagine this stem line, the main vein down the middle, as the mouth. And then right on top of that, we can put the eyeball. It's a little circle with a dot. And then we can also add maybe some gills. Have you ever heard of gills before? So gills are actually what help fish breathe. So through the gills, these are little slits on the side of their scales that we could add in here. They kind of look like curved lines, like that. And they allow all the oxygen from the water, they kind of suck up all that oxygen and help the fish breathe. So I've decided to add a little bit. I did 3 curved lines for the gills there. We want our fish to be able to breathe. Okay, so there's our fish on the bottom. Very nice. And we are ready for our final animal. This is going to be our mouse. So for this one, we will need a bigger oval-shaped leaf, and then a smaller oval-shaped leaf as well, and then 2 kind of rounder leaves like this. So these are going to be the ears that mice are so well known for. So I'm going to start with the bigger one. This is going to be the body. I'm going to flip it over and add the glue to the back as usual. So we're going to do the line down the middle and then around the edges, just like that. Okay, and now for this one, I'm going to have the stem end kind of pointing down, and that's going to be the tail. And then the pointy end will be facing up. Pushing down really hard. Okay. Next, we need the head. So this is going to be the smaller oval one. And the same thing, we're going to flip it over, add the glue to the back, and then flip it back over. And I'm going to have the pointier end facing up. And I'm just going to stick that right on top of the pointy end of the big body that he has. Alright, and again, pushing down really firmly so everything sticks. Okay, great. And now we're going to deal with the ears, these 2 round ears. So we're going to use the stem ends, and we're going to kind of do a little drop of glue on each end. So the first one, a little drop. Kind of tuck it underneath there at the top and push down. Just pushing down that first one, and then same thing, I'm going to add a little drop of glue to the second ear and slide that underneath the head again, right under there. And then push down again. The ears are very important for the mice. There we go. Okay, so we have their big ears, we have their head, the body, and the tail. And the tail, I have a shorter stem here. Mice are known for their longer tails, so you can definitely add on to it if you want with your Sharpie or any marker you have. You can add on to the tail, make it a little bit longer, just like that. And then we need to add a face to our mouse. Of course, he needs to have a face. So I'm going to add 2 eyeballs on his head. So I'm going to do 2 circles, with a dot in the middle, and then a big smile. It's going to be a happy mouse. And then I'm going to just shade in the very tip of this leaf for the nose, because it's a very pointy nose. Alright, and that is our mouse completed. There we go. we have our 4 animals here, and we have our first one, the lion, still drying over here. And oh, if you wanted to know a fun fact about mice, here's one that you can share with your family and friends. So mice are usually nocturnal. Do you know what nocturnal means? So that means that they are sleeping in the daytime and then they're very active and awake at night. And so they have really poor eyesight, but they make up for it with really good hearing with their big ears and with really good smell. So they use their pointy nose to help them smell as well. That's how they can find their way around things. Yeah, pretty neat. All right, so now I would put these aside for a few hours, let the glue dry, and so nothing slips around and everything is staying exactly where you want it. And then once the glue is dry, we're gonna fast forward a little bit, pretend that the glue has dried on these. And right now you can either do a couple of things with them, depending on how you feel. We can cut them out. So with the help of an adult, you can use some scissors and cut around one of these animals and then just tape up so somewhere in your house or give it as a gift. So if you feel like doing that, something you could use is some Scotch tape or masking tape to stick it around your house. And something I find really useful, especially for hanging up objects like this, you can pull out a piece of tape, I would say about 3 fingers wide from top to bottom, maybe something like that, and then rip it off and then fold it, kind of roll it like a log. If you roll it backwards, just like a log between your fingers, like that, and then you stick that underneath the piece of paper that you were going to tape up, and then it becomes like double-sided tape, and you can stick it to anywhere in your house, and it comes off really easily as well after, so it won't rip off any paint in your house. So you can do that with either the masking tape or the Scotch tape, and that would be one option. Or you could glue the whole piece of paper, like how I put them all on one page. You can glue up the whole page up somewhere in your house as well, using that same double-sided tape method. Or you could even add some background, like a background scene to this picture, and make it like a whole fall scene. That would be nice to maybe put in a picture frame even, or hang up around your house, or give to a friend as a gift. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Is I'm just going to add some background to this picture, and we'll see how it looks at the end. All right. So something I'm thinking of doing is, I see I have the bird up top and the fish down below and the ladybug down below and the mouse up top. So I'm thinking maybe I'll start with some grass on the bottom. So that's where the ladybug could be, is kind of hanging out in the green grass. So I'm using a green marker here just to add some grass. Then I'm going to stop just before the fish, because I know the fish need to be in water. So I have a blue color here, and I'm gonna do a little pond. So I'll draw some light blue, maybe just some waves, just to show the fish is around the water there on the bottom. All right, and then up here, since I know birds can fly, maybe this bird is up in the clouds. So I'm going to add a few clouds up here with my blue again. There we go. And you see a lot of clouds in my neighborhood anyways in the fall time. Okay, great. And one final thing I was thinking of adding was maybe a tree to show the leaves falling down. So I may want to add just to the side with my Sharpie a few branches that are pretty bare, because we're going to have some leaves coming off of these branches. Just like that. And then a big trunk on the bottom. And some orange leaves. I can use my orange marker to add some leaves that are falling or just barely hanging on. I'm going to do some ovals that are falling down. Like that. Just to make it like a real fall scene. Of course, if you can think of anything else you want to add to make it look really fall-like, or anything else to go around these animals, that would be very nice to see. And I'm really curious to see what yours is looking like. So feel free to add your pictures of what your scene looks like, or your leaf animals. I'd love to see those in the comments below, okay? We can all share together and see what we've come up with, using our great creative minds. Okay, so my scene is complete. There we go. That's my fall scene with my leaf animals. So I think I'm gonna use my double-sided tape and stick it up on a wall here for the fall season. All right, and as a last step, it's always a great idea to, recycle any papers that you use that got dirty during this activity. Make sure you recycle it and don't throw it in the garbage, because it can definitely be reused, so that's very important. And just as another option, if instead of using a scene like this, you could definitely use kind of a collage idea, which is where you could just use your leaf animals and maybe put them closer together on a page and have them overlapping and just have a whole bunch of leaf animals covering the entire page. That would look really neat too. So you can definitely do that as an option. All right. Well, we are done our leaf animals for today, so thank you so much for joining me. My name is Emma, and I hope to see you come back and join us for another live activity with Get Your Play Online. All right, have a great Sunday. Bye.